You're listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
What's up, everyone? It's Kyle from Unlocking Your Inner Strength and UnlockingYourInnerStrength.com. Glad to be back with you for another episode. Got a really cool episode planned for you today. And in case you haven't left a review on iTunes yet, I'm going to remind you up front, please do so, good, bad, or ugly. Just put a review up there when you have time. That'll help me out to know what I got to get better at, and it'll also help more people find the show. What I wanted to go over today was challenges that we face in life and difficulties that we face in life. So often we think that it would be glorious to wake up and have nothing in our path, no obstacles, nothing standing in our way. But I'm going to prove to you that that's not really true, and that we have to embrace these obstacles and these tough times that happen to us. That's how we grow, and that's how we become a better person. That's how we expand our comfort zones. So what I wanted to start with was a little background on Superman. Now, everybody knows who Superman is. I'm pretty sure of that. Not everybody knows the history of Kryptonite. So this is just on a sheet that I printed up. I want to read you something, then I'll give you my take, and we'll get into why you need a weakness just like Superman does. So as everyone who is even remotely familiar with the DC comic universe knows, Kryptonite is the one weakness of the otherwise indestructible Superman. As the Superman mythos developed, Kryptonite was discovered to come in many different forms, and it goes on to list all the different types of forms. The term Kryptonite, though, most commonly refers to green Kryptonite, the form which induces Superman's weakness. Kryptonite was introduced in the first volume of Superman in issue number 61 back in 1949 as a way of humanizing the Man of Steel, and is probably the most famous example of an Achilles heel since the story of Achilles himself. Nowadays, the word Kryptonite has permeated our language so much that, similar to the Achilles heel, Kryptonite is universally understood as a term describing a person's fundamental weakness. So a lot of people don't know that. They actually had to create a weakness for Superman because no one, all the way through issue 60 in the 1940s, nobody was able to relate to him. He had no way to be beaten. There was no enemy. There was no way to stop him. And as you may or may not know from me discussing Mind Map with you, we bond over struggle. Humans bond over struggle. And it's unrealistic to think that life is going to be all roses and hunky-dory. We need to seek out the challenges and look for those types of things. So if I were to use an analogy of going in for a workout at the gym, let's say you're a novice and you're just starting out. And let's say, to make numbers simple, you use 100 pounds on everything. So pretend you're using 100 pounds and we'll make it really simple. Let's say you're using all machines. Now, you're expanding your comfort zone at that point. You're applying a stress that the body is not used to, and you will grow initially. Now, let's say for months 3 through 12, you continue to use the same weight and you don't change anything else within your workout. Well, guess what? You're not going to expand your comfort zone and your ability to adapt to stress. And your ability to adapt to stress in the weight room is when you get stronger and you put on more muscle. So we need something to push up against. That's human nature. There's no way around that. I want you to imagine what your life would be like for a split second if you did wake up every day and you knew exactly what was going to happen. You knew that you could succeed easily at anything you did without much effort. That you could have all the physical traits you wanted in your life just by merely showing up. You knew what was going to happen around every turn. What would that be like? Would that be exciting? Would that challenge you? I'm betting that it wouldn't. Yes, the brain needs prediction and response. It's a pattern recognition machine. However, novelty and challenge also stimulate the brain and the mind to grow along with the spirit. So you need to walk the path of having prediction and response where you can, while also seeking out challenges, looking for challenges. And I'm not talking about stuff that's going to be detrimental to you, but stuff that's going to make you uncomfortable, that's going to push you to grow. I go through this stuff all the time. There's no such thing as everlasting success. Because as soon as you get up to the edge of your comfort zone, that's when it's time to expand that comfort zone again and try to reach and push the edge of that box so you can break through to the other side. And guess what? When you get to that, you're going to have to do that again. As I was growing up as a boy, I would always, whether it was when I got into the gym or basketball, I would always imagine a character or a mythical character that I was going up against. When I was shooting hoops, I used to stack garbage cans on top of each other, and I put a broomstick in the top garbage can, and I would picture in my mind that I was going up against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar every time I would run down the lane and shoot a floater when I would practice my 500 shots a day. I needed an obstacle. I needed to know that somebody was going to try to take my spot at tryouts, that I might not make that AAU team, that I needed to keep getting better, because if I wasn't trying to always get better, somebody else out there was. When I got into bodybuilding, I always imagined going up against guys that were better than me. And fortunately enough, in my very first bodybuilding show, and I believe I talked about this in another episode, I lost to Dennis Hobson, who went on to become a national level bodybuilder, still competes to this day. He was a bit older than me. So after he beat me in year one, every set of squats, every grueling leg workout, I was picturing him in my head and standing next to him in the spots that he was better than me in. And I used that to fuel me and motivate me. Now, if I'd gone in and I won every bodybuilding show I ever did, first of all, I'm not genetically blessed like that, and I really had no desire to do that. But if I did that, where would the challenge be? What would keep me locked in? A couple years later, I went against the IFBB pro Tim Martin. And there's multiple lessons that I learned from Tim. We wound up becoming training buddies, and we pushed each other, and Tim went on to become a world champion at the Team Universe. But when he beat me, I knew that I'd seen the best. So every workout after that, when I was going nuts after he beat me. I was pushing cars in the parking lot after my leg workouts. I was running stadium stairs after my leg work. Anything I could do. And I would picture Tim in my head. Picture how I was going to beat him if I ever had a chance to face him again. But going back to what I said, what if I had won every single contest that I ever competed in? Would that be thrilling? Would that be fun? Well, there is actually a real life example of somebody I met at one of my bodybuilding shows. His name is Michael Lockett. And the guy was a freak of freaks. When I met him, I mean, there was something off. He was wearing like a 4X t-shirt. He could hardly even talk because his jaw muscles were so big. And I believe he had myostatin deficiency, which I won't go into with this episode because that'll veer way off topic, but maybe I'll go into some bodybuilding myths and folklore in another episode if that's something you guys are interested in. But Mike won the Team Universe at the incredibly early age of 24 years old. Turned down his pro card. And he wanted to keep competing at the natural level. Now, this guy has a physique like nothing else you've ever seen in your life. I'm talking about even the best pros of the pros. His muscle is so unique looking. When he came out to guest pose at the show of mine that he was at, the audience gasped. Like they were fearful. I actually have video on. I'm probably the only one that's got video on an old camcorder. He looked like a dinosaur the way his legs were structured. Picture like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles legs. like from the movies. That's what his legs looked like, just weird muscle. And anyway, Mike went on to compete in one of the national level shows that summer, and he won that. Again, he turned down his pro card. And then he disappeared for a good number of years. Nobody knew what happened to him. Just gone. And after doing some research and whatnot and just thinking about it, I'm convinced the reason Mike disappeared was because it was too easy for him. It came too easy for him. He didn't have to challenge himself. Mike was so unique that when he was growing up in Cleveland, he was shot multiple times in a drive-by. But after he was shot, he gave up boxing. He was a boxer. So when he gave up boxing, that meant that he gave up his road work, or otherwise known as jogging or cardio, right? Just by stopping that, by giving up his road work and his cardio, he put on 25 pounds of muscle without even touching a weight. So that shows you what kind of freak you're dealing with. When I personally talked to him, and then accounts I've read of him too, he follows no type of structured diet. Often he would eat Twizzlers. He would eat, oatmeal and chicken, and that would be a day. It was just insane. And I always said, if it comes too easy, what's the purpose? You're not going to stimulate your mind to grow. If you knew everything, that would be it. You could just go lay down in your grave. If you had everything given to you, you might as well not even be alive, because it's a struggle. It's the pressure that makes the diamond. The hotter the heat, the harder the steel. You got to always remember that stuff. And with your kryptonite, it's going to be your weaknesses that you have to develop to become a better parent, a better entrepreneur, a better person just in life, better at the gym, better athlete, whatever it is. And you have to know that your main kryptonite that's going to come up and face you, like we've talked about in one of the other episodes, is resistance. Resistance will come up and it will nip you in the heels. It'll stop you dead cold in your tracks. And resistance is going to show up anytime that you're trying to do something of significance in your life. Anytime you're trying to grow and pursue a dream, resistance is going to show up. Resistance might be the phone ringing. It might be, I got to check email while I do this. It's writer's block. It's, I got to do the dishes before I do. It's anything and everything, and it's evil and it's sinister, and that's kryptonite in its finest. The great thing about your kryptonite, though, is when it stands in your path, when you know that, oh shit, I'm up against it, that means you're on the right path. I always tell people, if you don't face resistance and there's no fear, no kryptonite, so to speak, then you're on the wrong path. Your kryptonite will not show up when you're trying to go from a higher sphere of life to a lower sphere. It'll only show up when you're going from a lower sphere to a higher sphere. Only when we're moving and evolving our levels of consciousness, and as a human being, we're trying to do more with our life. That's the only time that it'll show up. So you got to realize that tells you you're on the path. If you're not scared and fearful of something, like I was scared out of my pants when I resigned from teaching. There's still many times when I'm just scared out of my mind about the stuff I'm trying to do. And it's okay, because even if I fail, I learned. So all these things that are going to step up and get in your way, they're learning experiences. They're not failures. Understand me? You don't fail in life. You learn. And to get to success quicker and more smoothly, you have to fail more and more and more until you become immune to it. Failure is not a moral thing. It is how the brain learns, and it's how we strengthen our spirits to move forward. So I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's something I'm very passionate about. You got to face up to your kryptonite, and you got to set the example and for the legacy that you want to leave behind. And if you fail, you fail. You're not going to die. You're still going to be in the game. That fear, that kryptonite that's standing in your way is just an illusion. It's just an illusion. But you need it. You have to embrace it. It's going to be your best friend. It's going to make you into the ultimate person. It's going to help you step into your greatness. So that's how you're like Superman. Remember that Superman did not have kryptonite in his story until the 61st issue. You're only going to inspire people by the struggles that you overcome. And it's my mission in life to try to inspire others, and I hope it's yours too. So you need obstacles. Look at obstacles and problems as nothing more than brain exercise. They're exercises for the brain and the spirit. And resistance will point you in the direction you're supposed to be going. If you don't feel it, you're going the wrong way. You're on the wrong path. Stop, turn around, and go back somewhere else where you're going to feel that fear and you're going to feel that resistance. That's all I got for you today. Hopefully that kind of lights a fire onto you. And again, if you can go to your iTunes account, subscribe to Unlocking Your Inner Strength if you haven't done so already. Please help to spread the word. Tell your friends. I'm really trying to carry my message out to the world. Any support you can give me, I really appreciate. And if you haven't done so, like I said in the beginning, please find a minute or two to leave a review, good, bad, or ugly. Appreciate it, and I'll be back next week. Peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.